everyone just a second because I'm actually just going live on YouTube. Second to join, do we have any wins, any victories that you would like to share? Anything
Um,
happening?
this is actually kind of older news, but I did actually get a referral from an assisted living, my first one.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So that,
Congratulations.
and it is my hardest transaction ever in my entire life.
Why do you say that?
It is a hoarder house.
Hmm.
They have three campers, four pickup trucks, a couple of boats, and it's a 1.36 acre lot. So the yard and like the campers have trees growing through them and everything. The smell in the house is horrible. Her toilet isn't working, so she has to stumble through the clutter with her walker into the kitchen, fill a bucket with water, and stumble through so that she can dump it into the toilet. So just
Oh
gives you an
my.
idea of her living situation. Her daughter, who drove up, I'm in Minnesota, drove up from Texas after her mom had a fall. They were staying in a hotel, and she's the one that got me hired. The mom is competent, but just a little overwhelmed and confused. There was a big family feud, and that sister's completely out of it. Now there's three siblings that live here in the Twin Cities, and there seems to be mental health issues and maybe a little bit of, mental delays. I mean, she said all of her kids were in special ed.
Mhm.
Um, Nobody is doing anything. Nobody's making any decisions. Nobody wants to move anything forward. There is no money, none, none. So, like, if there's a septic and well, so they have to pay to get that tested in order for us to sell it. So that's about $1,200. Nobody has the money. Um, so I'm just learning now that, I mean, I knew money was a tight situation, but they went to an assisted living. The Texas daughter did, got it all figured out. Then the mom called and said, I don't want to move here. So because she scored 15 out of 15 on the cognitive and competency score, they're like, we have to believe what she has to say. So they canceled. So then they found a different one that's part of the same community. It's a LifeSpark community. I don't know if that's just here locally or,
Yeah.
and so of course the marketing people talk. So now the new community is saying, well, no, because of they've realized that there's not a lot of money and stuff. So I'm trying to convince them there are plenty of places that you can go to for low income that accept elderly waiver, but everybody works two jobs and they don't know how to do it. And, how are we going to help mom? And so I suggested I have three different placement people that I know that I have worked with. And I suggested they call them. Well, it's not happening. I don't know why. I mean, and every time I ask, I hear, well, I took on another job and it was 3 hours away and da da da, da. Um, so yeah, it's been a challenge and she cannot be in that house anymore. It's
Yeah, it's kind of scary. So, will your placement folks help with the Medicaid?
um I don't know that they will.
They're illegally, they're not allowed to.
But I feel like at least it would be a good phone call for them to maybe just say, like I know, for example, Presbyterian homes in this area, they do, so I suggested that was a call. I was really hoping that they would at least make a suggestion. Sorry, I can't help you with that, but here are some places you may want to start. And then I did provide them with three phone numbers of places, but of course, they're not in the area she wants to be in. And
So instead, it can make a suggestion because I'm
absolutely, yes.
instead of providing information, they're never going to call.
Right,
They're just never going to call. Instead of providing information, you need to be the connector.
right.
So that's number one. We are all the connectors. I'd love to see more faces on here today. I'm just seeing black boxes. Those are tough. I'm going to be able to reflect the energy off of what you guys are giving. So I get that some of you might be driving and whatnot, but I love seeing faces. Um, The biggest part of being the connector is knowing when to connect the right people together.
Right.
So I'm hearing in what you're saying, I'm just going to make sure I'm on the right page. They have limited time. They
Mm-hmm.
need Medicaid
Mm-hmm.
at some point. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever building she goes to has to accept whatever Medicaid program you have.
Mm-hmm.
The house has value, but it has a lot of issues going on with the house. So you kind of need like a concierge service to come in to take care of all of it for you.
I already have an investor. We have an offer.
Okay.
We've have several offers, but when I want them to sign the offer, they say, "Well, I don't know if we can have all of our stuff out." So the offer is we close in 2 weeks, so they get the cash in hand and they don't need to be out of there until October. So they have all that time to get the stuff out of there, and they're refusing to let mom sign, or telling mom no, because what if I can't get my camper out in time?
So here's what you have to do is you have to be the connector and create a
Yeah.
timeline of all of this.
Yep.
Then you have to bring in the reality, which is tapping into their fears on what is really going to happen to mom if she stays in that home. Now, connecting them with a senior placement could be an option, but I think they need a Medicaid specialist that can start the Medicaid process for them. And when you speak with someone from senior placement, and folks, this goes for any referral you give out, any connection you give out, you tell them what's happening and you see who's going to be the strongest person to deal with this. Now, for all of you who reached out, we were on the call last week with Cynthia. Cynthia is great at these conversations, and she'll tell them that they're neglecting their mother. And
Yep. And
here are the next steps. And you can't be good cop, bad cop. So you need someone who could be bad cop.
mm-hmm.
And so I do not ever give my people a number, ever.
Okay.
I don't say call these people because they're never going to do it. I do an email intro. I put everyone's contact information in
They
there.
don't do email.
Text.
They don't do text.
They got to do something. Smoke signals. They got to do
Phone.
that. So then give their numbers. You're giving me a lot of roadblocks right now.
I know. I know.
Numbers, give their numbers out to these people and have them reach out to them. But
Okay.
I would not give three. They're
Okay.
going to be too overwhelmed with that. I
Mm-hmm.
would start with one placement, one Medicaid, and an attorney
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they need.
Right.
And if it continues to go down in this path, then you have DCF.
With DCF is what?
It's called something different in every place.
APF,
Department of Children,
Protective
Department
Service.
of Children and Family, because each state has it called something different.
Okay. Yep.
Because
Adult
it's elder abuse.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes.
elder abuse.
So here's
Now,
a question. So she's been in the hospital 3 times in the past 2 weeks. The last time a nurse came to do a follow-up to, check her vitals and stuff. So the nurse was in that home. There was also a call to the police within the past week. Wouldn't those people be mandatory reporters?
so I would find out who they were and I would call them
Yeah.
and say that you're concerned. So that nurse, I would
Mhm.
call that nurse and say you're concerned about her well-being, and let her know that you're getting some roadblocks with the family and ask them what they have recommended and ask them to be a partner for you. I
Okay.
wouldn't bring up the abuse part. I would let them bring it up because they'll bring
Right.
it up.
I
Right.
was that was going to be my question, Felicia, is, something with this circumstance, I mean, would that be an issue? Like how when would we know, or when should we step in and be that advocate for, elder abuse or neglect?
So you as a realtor, you as the realtor, it's a tough line for you because you're not mandated reporters.
Mhm.
I would partner with clinical team who can make that assessment because what your idea of abuse is may not be what abuse is. Do you understand? Like you put yourself in a really awkward position.
Right. Now
Um,
now with me, because of having the previous healthcare experience, I mean, I've been in administration. So how would that work? Would it still apply because I'm not actively in that field or
you're not a mandated reporter as a realtor. Now,
okay.
you could be a concerned citizen, like a concerned person coming into the home, and each state's just a little bit different on that.
Okay.
And if you have concerns, you can call up with concerns.
Mhm.
But you're reporting those concerns. I would lean on the professionals, the hospital, the nurses, the home health that's coming in. I've had this happen before in real estate. I recently just had it happen because the house is so cluttered. And I'm dealing with, it's not so much of a hoarding situation. It's that they just cleared out a second property and now brought in these antique furniture that they need to figure out what to do with it, right? And so it's like this going through, and she uses a walker and he doesn't. And so I was there when the movers were bringing things in and stating my concerns, and home health was there at the same time. And I said, hey, I need your help. I need your help with this. Can you please express to them how dangerous this is for Mrs. with her walker? Because me as a realtor, I have no bearing on this to them. Doesn't matter what my background is. Do you understand? It has to do with the level of, in their mind, the hierarchy of what you do and what they do. Now, they're not going to go to their home health person and ask what's an evaluation on my house, right?
Right.
So you have to partner with your folks to advocate for them. Now, if you keep hitting these roadblocks,
Mm-hmm. It's been 3.5 weeks now.
yeah,
Roadblock after
then you're
roadblock.
going to have to just go to the top and say, hey, I need help. Who can help me with this? Um, each hospital has an advocacy department.
Okay.
Ours does. I have
Mm.
multiple hospital systems down here. And if she does go back into the hospital, I would reach out to that advocacy department. Sometimes it's part of case management, sometimes it's a completely different department, and just advocate for them and let them know. Now, with this circumstance, you're going to have to give out whoever the power of attorney is.
Well, and it's a fun thing that so the sister from or the daughter from Texas was the power attorney, and the mom wants that revoked, and she wants her oldest son to do it, and he's just not like taking care of it. I sat down with him and it helped him fill out the paperwork. I said I have somebody that can sign that, notarize it, and he's just not doing it.
He's not going to. So it sounds like it's just a not a happening thing.
Right.
What I would say is you have to go with it's on paper right now, and they have
Right.
to go with it's on paper right now. And if
Right.
it's not changed, it's not changed.
Mhm.
Tough noogies. Mom
Right.
needs help now.
Right.
She's gonna die in that house. It's not cleanly, it's not hygienic. There's so many things. So are they looking to have mom die, or are they looking to take action? Bottom line.
Well, right. And that's where my mind is. Obviously, I'm not saying those words, but I have expressed my concern. Her coughing is getting worse and worse. I can only imagine what, dog feces and mold spores and what is in the place. Like I can't even walk in there. The smell is so bad.
Hmm.
And that's where she's been living for years. So, when I say I started out a family meeting by stating we are all here for the benefit of Sylvia. Does everybody agree with that? We want to get your mom in the best possible place. This was the response. 3 adult children in their, late 50s and early 60s, and I couldn't even get them to nod that we are here because we want to take care of your mom. Because it's work, and they just don't want to do work, is what my.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're gonna have to figure out who is able to help them. Now, as far as the senior living communities, you can't control that. You have
right.
to control the controllables. I'm gonna tell you, the marketers aren't talking, the nursing team is. I've been there, done that. And when you have a problem child, you have a problem person, they all talk. They all go to the same meetings, they go to
Right.
clinical meetings together, they all chat. She needs a Medicaid facility so that she could transition without any issues further down the road as her funds dwindle.
Right.
I definitely think that you do have your work cut out for you,
And the house
unfortunately.
is going to sell for $160,000. So there's going to just be a huge commission too, right?
But this is where, folks, us as agents, you need to understand where you're out of your depth of what you're doing, because you don't have the support systems and you haven't gone through this with experience. Once you go through it, you're going to be like, I know exactly what to do. You
Right.
need to lean on your clinical partners and folks who have been in that house, folks who are helping, and have them help. Your job is to sell the home,
Right.
help her transition.
Right.
We're all not counselors. We're all not social workers. And we all don't have the training, the years of training that a physical therapist, occupational therapist has.
Mhm.
So this is where I want you to tilt over to who can help you as a team go in to help this particular client. But this goes for any client.
Right. So
Because if you're saying to them, this house isn't fit, this house isn't suitable for her to live in, to thrive in, to age in place in, what professional background, and this is where they're going to say, as a realtor, do you have for that? So that's why you want to partner with someone who is able to do that, who
so
has for
you
you.
had recommended getting in touch with the nurse that had gone to their house. How do I even do that? Like, she doesn't remember the person's name. She doesn't even know what clinic they're from. Like, connecting with that person, I don't know. And I've reached out to different agencies, and what I've heard very consistently is all of our funding got cut. We can't do that. The best way to go is to call APS, and then once they get in the system, it'll get taken care of. I've been told that by probably 5 different people.
Then you have your answer right in front of you. You have
Mhm.
to call APS.
Mhm.
You are spending a lot of time on something that you don't have control over right
Mhm.
now. And this is because we all come from a caring
Mhm.
background. We all want to help. You have to call them.
Mhm.
That's it. And let them do the digging. For HIPAA purposes, they're not going to be giving you out information. They're just not, for HIPAA
Right.
purposes. So you're digging into a spiral, and what you're going to do is spend hours upon hours of this and not get anywhere.
Right.
But then on top of not getting anywhere, now she's still in the same spot that she is,
Right. Right.
and it's not helping.
Right. Right. Okay. So call APS, and I've been on their website and checking things out, and they said that when the issue is resolved, the person will get a letter in the mail if they wish. So, you know, but yeah, you're right. I'm not going to be involved, which I don't want to be. I mean,
You're here to and this is where I think a lot of platforms out there, a lot of information out there that's going in the direction that we should get involved as realtors. No, we shouldn't.
mhm.
We're unless you have the clinical background and you're still a nurse or you're still an occupational therapist, right? Unless you have that, and you have dual roles.
Mhm.
Because as you're learning this, you're going to come up against this a lot. And she needs a team to go in there like today,
Mhm.
go and help her. And so this is where I caution folks. And it's great that we're talking about this, because this is so important as you all grow your business. You need to know who you go in with your teams to do it.
Mhm.
Now, you could always make suggestions, but if they're not taking your suggestions, if you're hitting multiple roadblocks, you have to be the connector. You have to be the one advocating for them. And your best way right now is that. Has anyone else come up against this that's on the call today?
Mm-mm.
Just me. I'm lucky.
No, I've come up against this multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's really, really, really challenging.
Well,
And
it's kind of sucking the life out of me.
yes, it's emotionally draining.
So is the reason you keep referring to like the Medicaid or Medicare, is that because if they are in a situation like this and the family, you know, either isn't close or just doesn't want to do any of the planning, be involved, any of that, is that who gets them, the client or prospect or what have you, into contact with, I guess, somebody who would be an advocate and case manager?
No, so let's be real clear. So does everyone know the difference between Medicare and Medicaid?
Mhm.
Okay. Medicaid is going to pay for her services. I
Right.
heard that she said this is a $167,000 listing. Well, the average price of assisted living is $5,000 a month nationwide.
Right.
She might need skilled nursing at some point. She's going to run out of that money really, really, really fast. Okay. Because the kids are going to try and get their paws on it as well. So her threshold, or what her finances are is really, it's scarcity low.
Mm-hmm.
So I know in my experience with moving almost 370 seniors, she's going to need she's going to need Medicaid real soon.
Mm-hmm.
Down here, the Medicaid list to wait list for Medicaid, and y'all should find this out,
Yep.
is a minimum of 6 months. In some communities, it's 5 years. You're never gonna make 5 years.
Mm-mm.
So you need to have a list of, who can help, because that Medicaid application is big.
Mm-hmm.
It's not little, it's big. And if it's done incorrectly, and you now waited 6 months to get it done, now they're going to wait another 6 months to correct it, because you got to go on. They review them as they come in. And I know in my area, Medicaid is a really hot button. And we have something called the Medicaid waiver, which is different than straight Medicaid community. Okay, there's two different things. So you need to just have an understanding. Ask your placement folks. They know all about it. Which communities, how does it work? When do you pull it in? If you do help someone with Medicaid, what do they charge? Because they have to charge for it, because the community is not reimbursing for them. That's what's illegal. And so normally it's like $1,500 to $3,500 to help someone with Medicaid placement.
Okay.
Calling around to all of these Medicaid communities is how you find out what the availability is. You as the realtor shouldn't have to do that. The family should be doing that, or placement should be helping them. Because it is a very long, lengthy process to do it. You need to find the right person. You need to get in the phone, unless you know who they are. Okay. So when you're dealing with a situation of this magnitude, you have to understand that a regular ALF is not going to cut it, because then they're going to have to move.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to try and move people once.
Mm-hmm.
Now, typically in the history of ALF, people do move multiple times because they need to find the right fit. And sometimes an average move 2 times. However, that's just a moot point. Your job is to make it as simple as possible. So who can you partner with? Like, I have a company called Platinum Benefits here that I could partner with. I also have attorneys that do Medicaid planning for them, which is really important. And so I have kind of like I have 4 of them that can help with that down here. You need to know who those folks can be. And if not, if you don't have them on your bod, get them on your bod, because this is going to come up a lot. Now, with this situation, you're kind of at a little bit of a standstill. So Department of Children and Families, whatever you want to call it, they need to step in to assist, because you as a realtor, you're kind of dead in the water. You're just
Right.
like, you have to understand it's like you're not just a realtor, but you're just a realtor.
Mhm.
And I'm not downgrading what we do. It's that you need help for this reason. And you need to go to the top to see who can help quickly. Now, I've had situations like this happen before. I don't know if I have ever told y'all, I had a situation where there was a woman who lived in a $2 million house, and this is a $2 million house back in like 18. So now it's worth a lot more because of inflation with COVID. She had a housekeeper that she had for a long time. She was in her early 90s. She needed help. She told the housekeeper, I need to hire a caregiver. The housekeeper coerced her to have her be the caregiver. She then moved in. She then had her family members move in. She then had her change her power of attorney so that she became the power of attorney. She stole almost $1 million cash and had $25,000 in overdraft fees from bank. And then she switched the house out of her name with title into the housekeeper's name. She kicked this woman out in the street. Okay. So things like this happen, and families sometimes don't always have the best intentions. Now, her son was estranged from her. She didn't tell him what was happening. On this particular circumstance, I got it when it was really late. I was in senior living at the time. The FBI got involved. Like, it was a big deal because they stole so much money. And I remember the bank was Wells Fargo, and I will never use Wells Fargo for the rest of my life because I was like, how could you overdraft $25,000 and a light bulb go off and say, what's going on with this woman? We should look into it. Like, how does that happen? So things like this do happen, and sometimes family doesn't know or aware. In this circumstance, they are aware, but they're just so overwhelmed that they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have time for this. I don't have 20 hours to deal with this. So it's easier to just push it off.
Mm-hmm.
But mom's going to die in the meantime because
Mm-hmm.
she's in a hazardous situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you need help, and you need folks who are on your bod to help.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, as agents, we're the connector. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
so big on that. So we make those connections so that we can help make it easier for them. And that's where our expertise comes in.
Yeah. And yeah, I appreciate everything that you shared. Trying to figure out who to connect them with, like every time I mention, it's time to start the Medicaid process. There are people that can help you. Well, how much does that cost? I said, well, there's going to be a fee associated. Well, we don't have any money. We can't use anyone. I mean, they literally have no money. So I think calling APS is going to be, that'll probably be what I do
They need
after.
state funding. They need state funding then.
Mhm.
So they need to get the help that they have.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate your insight.
That's what you have to, that's what you have to do.
Mhm.
And so I'm trying to figure out, I'm interested to see how it goes for you. I
Yeah.
am.
I'll keep you posted. Yeah. Because I mean, like, okay, nobody does email and nobody does text, but nobody answers their phone and nobody has their voicemail set up. So, like, trying to get a hold of these people, and she can't hear very well. So when I show up at her house, I'm literally knocking on windows to try to get her to come and answer the door. And yeah, everything's just hard. So yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, no, yeah, you need some help. You
Yeah.
definitely need some help. And this is where we can't be spinning our wheels, right?
Mhm.
And not have answers, because you can go down a spiral and spend 8, 9, 10 hours on this. And then you want to help people, but in order to help people, we have to still pay our bills and make money.
Right. Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
have a fine line of that, just a fine line.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, sorry I occupied your whole half hour, Felicia.
That's okay. Yeah, we don't mind. This is what I love to do. I want to hear what you all are doing. I want to see how we can help you through this and make things easier. Um, did everyone find this helpful today? See some heads nodding. This is stuff that's going to happen. This is what happens when you work with seniors. Um, I have so many cases that have happened with things of this nature, and we do our best that we can to help these folks and to make sure that they are getting what they need. But we have to know when our limitations are and then when to partner and bring in the entire team, because this way it'll move a lot faster, help you sleep better at night, that you're getting that. And this is emotionally draining.
Mhm.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
And been there, done that. So I completely understand. But if you ever have any questions, and if you need some real world, real time answers, just reach out to me. I'm putting my cell in the chat. And I can try and help you with real life scenarios as they happen. If I'm with a client, I'll text you back. I've had a lot of interesting things happen, and just real quick before we leave, I've had 2 transactions in the past 2 weeks where they've been very interesting. So I will tell you that one was a DSCR loan. They were putting 15% down. The day before closing, the lender pulled all the comps again. So, on a DSCR loan, it's not just the house comps, it's the rental comps. They said, well, rentals are going down in your area and we're in a downward spiraling market. So instead of 15%, you need 20% down. And that scared the bejesus out of the buyer, because they didn't have the extra money. So we had to get real creative. So that was the first thing that happened. The second is wire fraud. Tell all your people, do not click on any links to send money. Go to the bank and have them do it. Not my buyer. I'm the listing agent. Buyer went, clicked on a link, sent their money to India. Real life scenario I'm going through right now. FBI is involved. Police are involved. It is 7 days past closing. We will not close. Seller needs to make a decision today to cut their ties and move on to backup offers, unfortunately. But this stuff does happen. We all see the wire fraud, things that you have to get signed, forms that have to get signed, but it is real. And on to boot, the buyer is a financial advisor. So he's really pissed that he fell for this.
He knew better. Oh no, he was just excited, the excitement of it all.
I think so.
Oh no.
So I'm telling everyone, because these are 2 real world situations that just happened to me in the past 2 weeks. And it is just, our market is shifting. It's a thing right now. People are still out buying houses. Today I think we have 638 homes pending. I check my pendings every day. I don't know how many you all check, but if I see my new homes are coming in at like 7, today they were like 760 something, and then I have that 600 and change pending, we're not that far off from each other. When we get real close, that's when I know that buyers are out buying, right? And I tell people oh, look, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. But you need to keep a pulse on what's happening to calm your seller's nerves. And that's what I was going to talk about today, but I'm just doing it real short. And know that, yes, these are challenging times. Working in real estate is cyclical. This is the time that you get all your ducks in a row, get your bod together, get everyone moving forward, because it will change. The tide will change. And I think after reading tons and tons of articles, because I do that too, I think September is going to be better for everyone, because Powell has to do a rate cut by then. And I know that the federal government's trying to step in on that, because they haven't done a rate cut all year. And then they're stating that 2026 is going to be the golden year for us, for everyone. Stock market's going to flourish, real estate market's going to flourish. So there is hope coming down the pike. I don't know about you all, but I read everything from every site, from doesn't matter, bipartisan, put it that way, doesn't matter who you come from, I'm reading it. And so that is the consensus that I'm reading. Take a look, and we'll talk about it again next Thursday, but take a look at what's going on within your marketplace and what's the news on the block. And I want us all to kind of come back next Thursday to see what's the messaging from your local news, from the national news, and from the media that you read links online. Because I read the other day that the new worst market in the nation, and then we're going to wrap it up for today, but does anyone know, it's not Florida anymore. Does anyone know what the #1 worst market is in the nation? Slowest market, according to Realtor.com? Yes, it's not Florida. Thank God. Take a guess.
We'll say California.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Are you kidding me?
Who knew? And
Girl,
it's because
I just drove through there, and there's so much development.
that's why. That's why. The new construction are buying down rates, so the resales are tanking. That's happening here. That's why
That makes sense.
they're buying down, like Toll Brothers right now, it's buying down the rate from 7% to 4.99. Why
Yep.
wouldn't you buy with them, right?
Yep.
So, Nashville's #1, Miami's #2, Orlando's #3, Tucson, Arizona #4, Jacksonville, Florida #5, Columbus, Ohio 6, Las Vegas 7, Riverside, California 8, Tampa, Florida 9, and Raleigh, North Carolina 10. And it's all due, this article just came out last week, it's all due to new construction. So these are things I want y'all to take a look at and see how we can use this, fuel this into your market for buyers. Like for me, when I heard Nashville, Tennessee, I'm like, oh, I know so many people who want to buy a second home in Nashville, Tennessee. Let's go, right? Now is the time to go. Create those referrals, create those connections, like fuel your market. If there's a will or a way for you to get income, this should fuel you all. Orlando, Florida, worst market. Hey, if I have a friend who has 7 condos in Orlando by Disney, and they're always packed. So if there's a way for you to fuel this into a reel, I know it doesn't have much to do with seniors, but we're all in a state of we need more income. I think you all could agree on that. And in order for us to serve our seniors, we still need to make money. This is a great way to fuel that. When you hear worst market, I hear investment. Time to invest. And if they don't, there's ways that you can partner with multiple people for the down payment, create an LLC so that you all have equal shares to buy that investment property, to start turning a profit, to start moving forward on it. So we'll talk about that a little bit more next week. But I just wanted to give you a little food for thought. And I want you to do a little homework on that, because I do think that we could spin all the negative talk into positive talk.
Felicia, I want to just share one thing. In our team meeting, our market center manager asked, how is everybody doing? And it was interesting. We had someone say, this is the busiest I've ever been. Oh my gosh. And then the next person is like, oh, I can't, it was just interesting to see in a group of 100 people that there were so many different stories, and some of it based on geography, some it was really interesting to see that it was so up and down.
It will be.
Yeah.
Normal. That is normal.
Yeah.
All right, my friends, have a fabulous day. Thank you so much. My dog just perked his ears up. He's like, where are we going? Have a wonderful day. Thank you all for joining this morning. Go and slay your day. Bye now.